Hello, it is Topical Tuesday, April 28th, 2020. Steve Sipress here on another beautiful yet, I think, almost record-breaking hot day here in sunny Arizona. Temperatures over 100 degrees again today. Definitely a pool day. Amir is here. Good seeing you. So, and Greg is here. Good seeing you. So, a word of caution. And I remember, hopefully you've read the book, Looking Out for Number One, great bestseller by Robert Ringer, all about, mostly about your attitude and how it's not up to somebody else to take care of you. You've got to take care of yourself. It's not about circumstances, not about blame. It's not about what's going on outside of you. It's not any excuses you have about things, let's talk about right now. It is Topical Tuesday. Let's talk about this lockdown, shutdown, authoritarian government destruction of the economy. So as a business owner, and hopefully you watch my videos, that's who these videos are for, you could be wallowing around in self-pity or blame and saying, well, if the government hadn't done this, or if only this hadn't happened, or man, there it was after 10 years of Bush and Obama, with a crappy economy. I waited around, finally Trump came in, and for 3 years we were booming and things were happening. Man, then this came along. I mean, if only this hadn't come along, we were on track for our best year. And we were going to open up 2 more locations. And we were going to do this, and we were going to expand, and we were going to do that. And now, man, we're just trying to exist. Or now, I'm just hoping people come back and things return to the way they were. And look, that's living in a what-if world. Robert Ringer talked about the number one way you could almost ensure a lack of peace of mind, a world of unrest and worry, is to live in a what-if world and to think about if only, or what if the government hadn't shut down the entire world economy. I mean, it's the first time, and hopefully the last time, this stupid experiment will ever be attempted with obviously, since the first time ever, no scientific basis to shut down the entire economy because of a virus. And now, unfortunately, sadly, the numbers are showing that this virus is no more deadly than any regular flu. It's more highly contagious, which actually is on the good side of not shutting down. If you would have just stayed open and people who are sick or vulnerable stay home, like they always do in every other virus or flu or whatever you want to call it, situation, epidemic, pandemic. You think you're vulnerable, you stay home. We don't shut everything down. Give people a little respect there and let us all decide whether we feel it's worth the risk to run our business, do this and that anyway. I thought of this because I had a friend and a neighbor come over. I talk about him once in a while as a handyman. He comes over and he is passionate about this. And one thing he said, though, that really is a word of caution I'm going to share with everybody. He said, he has a handyman business, right? A go-to-you business. He goes to his customer. So, of course, he can't be really shut down, even if people say you got to be shut down. They're not really going to stop him from going out and doing some handiwork and fixing some things right at the house. I mean, in fact, even with this bogus essential, non-essential, which, of course, there's no such thing as a non-essential business, but you'd have to think if there is essential, it's a handyman. You're ordered, mandated, quarantined, locked up under house arrest, staying in your house for a month or 2. Well, if something is broken, pretty much you need it fixed. It's not like you're going anywhere else. You're mandated to be under house arrest. They got to allow somebody to come over and fix the house. But he said, and this is a word of caution to everybody, he said, but even if I had a brick and mortar location, retail, restaurant, store, bank, whatever you want to, anything where somebody comes to the business. Well, a lot of them are mandated and deemed this insulting, bogus, non-essential. Non-essential from whose point of view? From the 90% of Americans who don't own a business and the government bureaucrats. I guess all they can think of is their own personal, selfish point of view that since I don't need to buy those items, that store is not essential. Really? Let's think about it from that store's business owner's point of view. And their kids, their family, their landlord, their suppliers. Pretty sure it's essential, right? Somebody owns a store that the government deems, non-essential. They've been putting money in that college fund to send their kid off to school, and now they got to take money out of that college fund just to put food on the table. Sounds pretty essential that they would have their business open. But anyway, that was another video that I recorded a few weeks ago. But he said, but even if I had a business where the government said, you're not allowed to open, it's not essential, you can't open that retail store, he said, I would open anyway. And I was like, what's the point? Why? If nobody would come in. What do you mean people would come in because of what? I don't know. I mean, the businesses I know, and I consult with thousands and thousands of business owners over the decades, are not operating on really high, carelessly high profit margins. Like if the business takes a 10% drop in revenue, they're on the borderline of closing down the business. I mean, businesses want to grow by 10, 20% in a year. They don't want to shrink by 10%. And last I checked, being shut down completely with zero revenue for a month is 1 out of 12. That's about 8 1/3% or whatever it is. That's nearly 10%. You shut down for another 2 weeks, which it has been about 6 weeks, 7 weeks, I don't know. Let's just call it 2 months. Now it's 16%. Last I checked, the business that's sitting there looking at a 16% drop in revenue is on the verge of just closing the doors. And yet the next few months for restaurants and hotels and retail stores and movie theaters, all the entertainment stuff and everything around it, right? All the hotels have nice restaurants in them. Well, if nobody's going to the hotels because there's no sporting events, no conventions, what about all the businesses that make their living, that to survive, they're around the convention centers and they're around the arenas and they depend on airfare travel? What about all the businesses in all the airports and around all the airports and around, again, how about office parks where people are now working from home? You think people are just going to go back? Companies are going to say, yeah, you know what? We've now found that people are working from home. They're more efficient. They're not wasting time at the water cooler or bumping into people in the hall and wasting a half an hour here or there. They're actually getting all their work done. And we do not have to provide office space, desk, cubicle, phones, chairs, carpeting, file cabinets, pens, staplers, paper, copiers. What the heck? This is great. And the workers are saying, wow, working from home, where I can really efficiently get all my work done in a few hours and walk the dog when I want and play with the kids, take a break, not have to sit in rush hour traffic. You think things open up again and people are going to be real quick to go, oh no, I demand that I get to sit in my car for an hour every morning and an hour every evening, just sitting there in bumper-to-bumper traffic so I can go work in a cubicle when I just know and proved that I can get the exact same or more work done at home remotely, saving money for the company, saving time and effort and heartache and stress for the employee, and therefore passing it on in lower costs, higher profits, better for the customers, the clients, the patients, the members. I mean, give me a break. Things are not coming back to the way they were, folks. So if you're thinking, I can't wait till things come back, or if only this, or if this hadn't happened, that, or you'll see, I'm stubbornly, he was saying, this guy was saying, and I've heard it, he's not the only one, I've heard it a bunch, that's why I'm on here talking about it, the people that own a restaurant right now, they're selling. And I'm not going to use his name, but this guy I was talking to today in person in my home was like, well, but then they take a loss. I'm like, opportunity cost, dude. They take a loss on their restaurant, which they're going to either die of 1,000 slow cuts over the next 5 years when their business, even if 90% of the people come back and start going out to eat again, when they've learned that they really enjoy ordering in and dining at home and sitting in their own living room and going in their own bathroom and watching on their flat screen TV, their big TV. They watch the theater and the sporting events and HBO and Netflix. The technology's been around for a long time. Now you have a catalyst that even if 90% of the people said, gee, I'm going to go out to the movies all the time as soon as I can again, and I'm going to start traveling like crazy, and I'm going to go stay in hotels all the time, and I'm going to go out to eat all the time. Even if 90% do that, guess what? Do the math. That's 10% who don't. That's a 10% drop. Well, I don't know, but I don't live in a what-if world of like, if that hadn't happened, restaurants are great business. I live in the reality world. I like having peace of mind. I just look at the way things are. I don't blame anyone. I don't care why. I'm not going to look back in the future and wonder why or whose fault or whatever. Right now, I'm just looking at the way it is. It's how you keep your peace of mind, your wits about you. The way it is now, buying a business, a restaurant, or constructing one right now, kind of lunacy. Unless you really do some smart things and do some great marketing and really ramp up your takeout, or, instead of opening another location you thought you were going to open, just go get 2 or 3 more food trucks. And those are a much higher profit margin than a physical restaurant. No dishes to wash, no furniture, no dishes that break and need to replace, no dishwashers. I mean, you just got the kitchen, you serve them food right there. You can have a very efficient business with a food truck compared to a restaurant, but see, a lot of people start a restaurant because they love serving people and greeting their customers, and they like to buy the freshest ingredients and make the best food and provide the best experience. Well, those days are gone, at least temporarily, at least for 3, 4, 5 years. And last I checked, if you are investing in a business right now, which means continuing to run one or buying one or starting a new one, restaurant, not a smart one to do. Now, is this fair? Is this right? Is this the way it should be? Who cares? First of all, who cares? Second of all, no. But that's what this thing did. This shutdown affected different businesses in different ways. Now, what if you sold your restaurant, took a quote, a loss, but instead you went into manufacturing? Because manufacturing is likely to start booming now as things start coming back from overseas, especially if you're creating PPE. I mean, even businesses that are open, people are conditioned now, oh, I got to dress like I'm from another planet and wear a spacesuit, and I'm afraid to touch my neighbor. I loved him 2 months ago, but now I think he's going to kill me. Like, what? That's what we've been brainwashed to believe. Anyway, no matter who did that and whose fault it is and whatever, that's just the way it is. So dreaming of business the way it used to be, or coming back, or if only it would be this, or wouldn't it be great if, is no way to go through life thinking you're going to be a successful entrepreneur or a successful business owner. Successful business owners right now, we are buying up businesses for pennies on the dollar. Take somebody around my age that's been running a business, so say a restaurant or a retail business for 30 years, 40 years, been in the family, whatever they run. They're nearing retirement, and they just said, like I said, man, I slogged through 10 years of crap after the Bush-Obama debacle. I mean, the Bush debacle and Obama, either didn't know how to build the economy or didn't want to. There's, who cares what the motivation is? The bottom line is he didn't rebuild the economy. It just kind of staggered along and sucked. But business owners waited for things to get going again. They only got going for 3 years, and now we get slammed again, and slammed a lot worse than '08. A lot worse than anything in our lifetime, and this is going to take years to come out of this depression. Notice how, by the way, the economists and the government officials and the media never use the word depression. They just say there's going to be a really bad recession. By the way, the definition of a really bad recession is a depression. There's going to be a serious recession. That's called a depression. And that's what it is. That's what it's going to be. So get out of the world of like, what if, and I told this guy today, again, I'm not going to use his name, and I said, it's very courageous and commendable, and I'm with you about I defy the government order, and I would open my business, but in reality, is that smart at all? There were so many people, again, that are my age, that have run the business for a long time, that are kind of weary from the last 10 years of crap that they slogged through, to get to only 3 years of good times. And just as things are kicking into gear and looking great, and Trump might get reelected, and this could go for another 5 years, slam. Ironically, it's Trump himself who destroys his own economy. I mean, if you would have bet on that in Vegas, you'd be a bazillionaire for $1. Who would have thought Trump himself would destroy the economy? But anyway, he did. Who cares? Why, when, whatever. The point is, it's destroyed. And is someone 55, 60 years old going to say, oh, I'll just wait 5 years till it comes back? No, they're going to sell. And they're going to sell for pennies on the dollar. Or they're going to hold paper, which is happening a lot, and just say, no money down. 2 months ago, man, they were saying no to offers. And no, I love my business. Now, if they're smart, they're not living in that what-if world. They're saying, I'll take zero down. You take over the whole business. You make the changes that I won't make because I've done it this way for 30, 40 years. I love the fine dining business. I'm not going to do food trucks. I'm not going to do takeout. I'm not going to make the menu simpler. There's no way I'm going to survive putting half the tables in my restaurant. I mean, if you went out to a restaurant on a Friday night and it was half full, that restaurant ain't going to be around much longer, right? But now they're saying restaurants can come back and reopen, but for the next few months, at least, half the tables. They got to stand 6 feet apart and social distance and look like a spaceman and clean off everything. There's going to be extra cleaning costs. And the bottom line, though, is much lower revenue. Well, restaurants can't survive on that lower revenue. So forget the what if, forget what could have been, forget what was. Understand, get anything you can for that restaurant. It's not the business to be in now. It's the business if you're young and full of vim and vigor, or if you can make some major changes, it's a prime business to buy right now. You can buy it for no money down and just say, when things get going, I will send you this percentage of the money. I'll keep you on for a couple of years as a consultant, so you'll get your health care and your benefits covered. And if the employees need to talk to you, or I got a question or whatever, we can talk to you, or you can come in once in a while, make an appearance. The old customers, loyal customers will love you, blah, 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 this and that, help the transition. But bottom line is, understand we're going to change everything. We're going to simplify the menu. We're going to need to not get the best ingredients and the finest vine-ripe tomatoes anymore, not for the next few years. We got to survive this thing. And we got to get a couple of food trucks, takeouts. We got to close 2 of our 5 locations. Things that the current owner not likely to do because he's living in the what-if world. Oh, but I built this business. I worked so hard. I did it. Look, doesn't matter. Look at it the way it is now. And right now, there are a bunch of businesses it is not smart to be in. However, very smart if you can buy those for pennies on the dollar. And that's why right now in the downturn is the greatest time of opportunity of our lifetime for an opportunistic entrepreneur. Or am I wrong? Isn't there a saying, buy low, sell high? Well, now it's low. It's a depression. The entire economy is shut down. Projections are for a 40% decrease. Oh, let me correct that, 39.5. I saw Chase or some bank came out and Goldman Sachs, 39.5 downturn second quarter. Tell me their numbers didn't come out above 40, and they said, we can't say 40. Let's say 39.5. Any business owner, anyone watching this ought to know about pricing strategy and the psychology of charging $9.99. People say, oh, it's $9.99. Oh, it's in the 30s, 39.5. Now it's a 40% downturn minimum, probably higher. Wow, that's a crazy contraction. That's a major downturn, okay? Face it, that's just the facts. Now, lots of businesses are not going to be the right businesses to have, okay? When cars came along, it killed the railroad business. Railroads were railroad magnates were the richest people in America that owned the railroads. They were making all the money. Everybody needed the railroads. Oh, well, just because cars come along, who's going to give up those cushy railroad rides where you don't have to drive, you don't have to stop for gas, you just get on and relax. You can even sleep in the Pullman cars. It's luxurious. It's nice. You get to... Really? Really? Or the cars totally destroy the railroad industry. Now, when I say totally destroy, understand what I mean. There's still railroads around. There's still radios around. Last I checked, though, a lot of families aren't gathering around the radio on a Saturday night to listen to the Lone Ranger in the Shadow. Those days are gone from 60 years ago. But there are still radios. They're in cars and whatever, but especially if you do any radio advertising, you know that radio is not the center of a home. In fact, another big change, and this has been happening for a while, and you probably noticed that TVs are on the outs because the next generation, the kids don't even watch TV. They want to take their devices and watch YouTube or play games or watch their videos or do what, or both. They have the interactive games where they're playing the game on the headset, talking to somebody across the world, whatever, but they're not watching TV. So will TVs still exist? Of course. Will they be the centerpiece of a home in the future? No. Okay, so if you stay in the what-if world, or the longing for the good old days, or I can't wait till things come back, and you put your emotion in, man, I would defy the government, and that's all good. That's all good for conversation. But in reality, I implore you, please, stop with the what-ifs and the emotion and the anger. It was a song by Billy Joel, The Angry Young Man. I don't remember all the lyrics, but I do remember it was something about, he's an angry young man. He's always angry. He's always complaining. And he's going to go to his grave as an angry old man. Don't go to your grave as an angry old man, woman, whatever, complaining and defying and saying of course the government sucks that they shut everything down. And insulted businesses by picking and choosing and saying, oh, liquor store, you can run your business, but a retail clothing store, you can't. Or you can sell lumber, but you can't sell seeds or whatever. I mean, all kinds of ridiculous things going on. That is horrible. But if you just get angry with that and don't do things to capitalize on it, you're going to go to your grave as an angry person. And that's not, to me, that's not success. And that's the point of today's video. Robert Ringer, looking out for number one. Take care of yourself. Get some peace of mind. Get out of the what-if world. Get out of all the anger, all the emotion, all the blaming, all the upset. Look around, look at the reality and go, right now, is the business I currently own a smart business to own? If not, change it drastically, sell it, give it away, burn it down, walk away from it, do whatever. Because now is the time to start something different, buy something for nothing, and transition that one and turn it around. But get into the real world, folks. This is a time of unbridled, enthusiastic opportunity for someone that's looking at the world the right way. However, on the downside, if you're looking at it in the what if, and I wish, and if only, it's got to be hell. You're just robbing yourself of peace of mind. Fair enough? All right, let's see a whole bunch of people here, and let's see who's got some questions, comments, concerns. I saw them flying by. Jeremy Danley, one of my favorite sharp marketing entrepreneurs there is, says, every one of my biggest developments came from major setbacks. This is no different. Excellent attitude. And then Jeremy also says, TV and radio killed vaudeville. Yeah, there you go. See, I could have gone even further back. Will online virtual events dominate over live events? Almost undoubtedly. Well, and even if not dominate, see, here's the thing. Again, live events, if the attendance at live events goes down by 10%, they're almost unholdable. Business live events don't want to decrease by 10%. They say, oh, we had 3,000 at our convention last year. We want to get 3,500 this year. They don't say we want to get by with 2,700 next year. Let's have less speakers. Let's serve worse food. Let's try and scrimp by on 10% down. And that's if only 10% less people attend live events. I think the number's going to be higher. But whatever it is, it's not likely that for years, if ever, I don't think ever, I don't think people are ever returning to horse and buggies, wooden tennis rackets, live events in the numbers that they used to. Are there still wooden tennis rackets around? I'm sure. Are there still horse and buggies around? Of course they are. In fact, they're really expensive. They're called the Hansom Cab in Central Park, and you can go pay like $200 to get a 10-minute horse and buggy ride. So yeah, they still exist. But last I checked, not everybody has a horse and buggy. So if your company was a maker of buggy whips, then you were in trouble when Henry Ford got that production line going and started churning out cars so that every home could have one, right? Well, to the people with the vision, go the victories. And right now, see if you can put yourself in a looking ahead place and say 5, 10 years from now, am I a buggy whip company who's going to deny and be angry and be upset that the car came along and deny that it came along and say, that's just a fad. Cars have a lot of trouble. They're much more expensive than horses and buggies, and, cars need gas. You can run out of gas. My horse never runs out of, well, maybe it ran out of food. Well, but whatever. You could down talk and deny it and say the change isn't happening, but think about it from the other point of view. As a online or virtual event attendee, are you more likely to remember the good old days of 2 months ago? I've attended hundreds of events, in-person seminars and conventions and events and conferences. I mean, here's what you do. I say goodbye to my beautiful wife, Michelle. I pack the bag. I then get in a cab. I pay a cabbie. I get to the airport. I sit there in an inhuman, getting groped like I'm a terrorist and waiting online. Then I'm herded like cattle over to the gate. Finally, I'm allowed to board, and I had to waste 2 hours of my life getting there early and leaving on time and whatever. And then I get on the plane, and again, I'm treated like a lowlife. Oh, sir, you can't put that in the back. Shut your phone off. Put your tray table up. Put your back seat up. Hey, listen to me. I'm the stewardess, or whatever they call them. So what? Really? And so now I'm not treated as a beloved customer. I'm treated like I'm on a bus in the sky, which I am. Then I paid big money for that. Then I get to my destination. I got to check into a hotel again. I stand in the lobby because that convention started at 9 a.m. the next day. So tonight, it's 500 people filing into the airport, into the hotel all at the same time or online. Well, I know some people. I'm saying hello, but I'm basically standing online, looking to give them my credit card and pay them hundreds of dollars a night to get into my one-room hotel. So I left a 3,000 square foot home with a big, beautiful pool and a beautiful view in the mountains to go stay in a one-room hotel, sometimes near the elevator, where there's a lot of noise. The elevator itself, people keep coming off late at night. They're drunk. They're coming off the elevator, yelling, screaming, laughing, whatever. Like, Maybe certainly don't have my DVR. I know people that know tech do, and they can hook up their home DVR and watch the shows they want, but I got to watch all kinds of commercials, and they don't have the channels I want, or who knows what. Then I got to, so I'm paying for like 3 nights in a hotel, round trip airfare, all the meals away from home. I'm away from my business. I'm away from my family for 3, 4, 5 days to go to that convention. Now, instead, I could wake up, stay in my pajamas, go to the computer, turn it on, and be at the convention. And thanks to the Zoom and the FaceTime and all this, people are figuring out ways to interact personally, one-on-one, with voice and face messages and whatever. And like, man, I'm saving thousands of dollars, days away from my family and my business. I'm sleeping in my own bed in my own house instead of a hotel room. I'm going to decide I'd rather 100% or more than 100% of people are going to say I'd rather go attend live events again. Even if it only drops to 90%. 90% of people go back, which I think is high. And that's from somebody who hosts live events, and I've been hosting hundreds of live events for a living for over a decade. And I am under no misconception of a what-if world of like, what if people come back to live events more than they ever did before, the same amount before? Ain't happening. So now am I going to rent out the hotel room and pay for the AV and book the rooms and do whatever and do all the marketing? And it's tough to put butts in seats as it is. Anyone attend conferences and in-person events recently, attendance is way down. The technology's been there for years to host events that you can watch virtually from at home and interact with. So now we just have a major catalyst of the order of shelter in place, shut down, lock down, house arrest, kill the economy, whatever you want to call it, which necessitates the meetings. After a taste of it for a month or 2 or 3 or 6 months, no. 100% of people are not going back and saying, I love being a road warrior. Boy, I love those live events and trekking around in hotels and airports and rent a car. I didn't even talk about renting to rent a car and being treated like a second class. Do we have 17 forms of ID? Wait online for an hour, sign all this paperwork, this and that, whatever, blah, 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 walk around, try and find a car you want, blah, and then returning it. Oh, you don't have a full tank of gas, we're charging you $8 a gallon for it. Come on, wipe all of that out and let me attend from home. That way, if I want to go on day 1 and day 3, if I'm in person, I got to figure out what am I doing on day 2. None of the speakers I care about. I'm going to stay in a hotel room, or I'll walk around, or I'll go shopping. Let me be at home. Let me attend 5 events a week if I want. I can attend 3 events in a day, try them all out for a couple hours, see who else is there, meet them, talk to them, say I'll get back to you. If I see a speaker, I can catch the speaker. I can watch a replay probably. I mean, come on. You can't tell me that even 90% of people are going to go back to in-person events. And 90%, again, is a death cry. Anyone hosting live events in 2 weeks ago, if you said, hey, is your goal this year to have 10% less people show up at your live events? How does that make any sense? But right now, that would be awesome. Damn, 90% of the people coming back? Yeah. Do the math, though. Get out of the what-if world and do the actual math and go, wait a minute. Not a very good business proposition. That my goal is to only lose a little bit. Just pick something else, right? That's my 2 cents. I mean, so, yeah. Nothing ever, by the way, replaces anything else completely. Like I said, there's still horse and buggies around. There's still radios. There's still vaudeville. There's still live theater. But so they don't go away entirely, but they don't. They're replaced by a new dominating thing. YouTube dominates now with online video. Who's going to look back at this video 5 years ago now? Oh yeah, I remember YouTube. I remember MySpace. I remember all those ridiculous things you're talking about, Steve. Now we have whatever. So yeah, nothing lasts forever. But if you sit there in a what if world and go, man, I had 1,000 followers on MySpace, and I put a lot of material on MySpace, and I had a great following on MySpace, like, you're just killing yourself. You're just living in with no peace of mind, and you're all messed up. You probably can't sleep. You're all worried about things. Forget it. MySpace is gone. And get to work on what's working now, what's going to work in the future. It's the same way for the entire rest of the economy. Everything is in chaos. Everything is up in upheaval. Wayne Gretzky had a saying, I don't skate. The greatest hockey player of all time, he said, that's because I don't skate to where the puck is. I skate to where the puck's going to be. Right now, don't operate your business on what is or what was. That's even worse. He certainly didn't say, I skate to where the puck was. I skate to where it's going to be. And he was the greatest at that, anticipating where the puck is going, skating there, then the puck arrives. You see that in all sports. You see it in baseball. It's amazing, isn't it? The batter hits a ball like 350 feet. As soon as he swings, the center fielder is already off and running full speed on the perfect angle that somehow he catches the ball. How did he make that split-second judgment the second the ball was hit? How did the football receiver run this 40-yard pattern and get bounced and beat on and whatever, and then he makes that, and the quarterback throws it and it arrives right there in his fingertips, 1 inch from the out of bounds? I mean, it's just amazing because they threw the ball to where the receiver was going to be. The receiver ran to where the ball was going to be. Of course you want to do that in business. Where's the economy going to be? Where is your industry going to be? Stop regretting where it could have been or where you thought or hoped it was or where it used to be or any of that stuff. Cut it out. Okay, and if you want help with any of this, profiting from all this chaos, as always, it's still there. It's my free report, How to Profit from Chaos. Simple enough, and it's free. Go to profitfromchaos.com. I'll even give you an invitation to my private Profit from Chaos Facebook group where we're having a blast. I know, Jeremy, you're in there. Every day I'm posting at least one example of someone overcoming the chaos to profit and getting out of the what-if world or the I'm crushed world or the if-only world or too bad this world. Forget all that. Look around. I'm going to post every day more examples of what works, what someone else is doing who's thinking, what could I do? Not thinking, oh, woe is what is happening to me, woe is me. Or if only this. Cut out that crap. And let's take advantage. Let's wake up tomorrow with unbridled enthusiasm for what crazy thing is going to happen tomorrow. Whatever it is, I'm going to think 2 years ahead and go, what does that mean? Like, for instance, right now, I know Trump, he believes he has to be a cheerleader. I mean, it just makes sense, right? He's not going to come out and say the truth. We're going into a depression. I destroyed my economy. It ain't coming back. Even if I get reelected, it'll barely come back by the end of my next term. 3 to 5 years. Anyone who knows anything and has studied history at all knows it's going to take 3 to 5 years minimum to get out of this depression. Trump's not going to come say that. He's going to keep coming out and going, it's a V. Things are coming back just as fast as they went down. You'll see it's going to boom. Everything's going to open up again. And yeah, that's a mistake. If you skate to that puck, it ain't going to be there. If you make that out pattern in football, the ball's not going to arrive there. Okay? It is not coming back the way it was, not coming back better than it was, not coming back anywhere near where it was. And each individual industry and each individual business is drastically changing. Some for the better, those are the ones you ought to get involved in. Some for the worse, those are the ones you ought to get out of. Makes sense, Jeremy? I know you're doing a great job with that transition. And I hope everybody else does as well. That'll do it for Topical Tuesday. Thanks everyone watching today as the sun sets behind me in the west. I will catch you again tomorrow. It's forecast for another ridiculous 100-and-something degree day. Hope it's fantastic wherever you are. And let's take advantage of this great time of opportunity and let's have some enthusiasm and excitement for all the craziness and the chaos that's going on. Chaos means opportunity. That's what it means. Or it can mean depression. Your choice. You decide. I can't decide for you.